May I come in, sir?
Yeah, come, Neel.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Please be seated. Neel,
you, sir.
make yourself comfortable.
Yes, sir.
When you are ready, let us.
Yes, sir.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hold your breath for half an hour. Huh? Good. Neel, can you briefly introduce yourself to the board?
Yes, sir. Sir, my name is Neel Sharma. I hail from Thane district of Maharashtra. Sir, I did my graduation from IIT Kanpur in the field of material science and engineering in 2016. The post that I started my civil service preparation. Sir, last 2 years back, I took up a job in a startup called Loyaltix AI in Bangalore, and currently I'm working as a data scientist.
From Thane to Kanpur.
Yes, sir.
Cultural shock?
So not much, but yes, yeah, some it's a food, language, but this is not a shock, but it was like more of a difference, I would say.
Different. How do you compare a Maharashtrian with a Kanpuria?
Sir, I mean, so based on certain very obvious things, the language is different. Sir, the food habits are different. Sir, the culture in sense of the roots where Maharashtrian is very different from the roots of Kanpuria or a person living in Kanpur. Sir, and I think the entertainment value, sir, for example, Maharashtrian would be more engaged in the local entertainment, whereas local engagement of Maharashtra, whereas Kanpuria would be more in a.
Can you tell me how deep your surroundings play an important role in imbibing a value? And can you give me example of one negative value the people of Kanpur may get because of the surroundings?
Sir, I think to answer your first question, sir, environment does play a very significant role in influencing a person, both positively and negatively. So that kind of creates, and especially in the formative age, creates a kind of worldview, create a kind of outlook towards things, career, personal life, etc. So that way, it does affects a lot. Sir, I think negative thing which a person hailing from Kanpur could imbibe would be the culture of, I would say, inclined towards crime, but not exactly crime, but like more of a.
How about tobacco consumption?
Sir, yes, tobacco consumption would also be one. Smoking, tobacco consumption, both would be something that one could gain from the environment.
During your stint in your BTech,
yes, sir.
Was there any occasion of a fist fight with a localite or a heated argument with a localite? Any occasion?
Sir, personally, I always stay away from these arguments, or I would say verbal spat. So I have personally never faced any kind of scuffle there. But yes, sir, I have known friends who get into this thing, maybe while driving or maybe while on road, they get into arguments with the localites. So yes.
Okay. You heard about the term character?
Yes, sir.
Right? Can you define character to me?
Sir, I would say character is a deep internal as well as external orientation of a person towards its surrounding, towards its people, and also towards the self. So the kind of value that he or she inculcates, the kind of value he or she reflects in long run is character.
Is character. Okay. When you talk about continuum approach,
yes, sir.
Can you give me an example for objectivity and subjectivity on a continuum approach?
Sir, sorry, I'm not aware of the continuum approach.
Continuum approach is either not being 100% objective or being 100% subjective. Trying to get a middle path.
Right, sir.
It's called the continuum approach, where you don't fall back to extreme ends. So any value you feel objective, subjective on the continuum approach. Say it is said, no, the value of telling truth.
Yes, sir.
But at times we tend to tell a lie to, scuffle off any untoward incident or a situation.
Right, sir.
So you are on a continuum approach.
Right, sir.
Like that, can you give me an example?
Surely, sir. Sir, I would say the value of justice is well placed in the continuum approach because it's a compromise, or I would say balance between two conflicting values and a very fair judgment based on weighing the pros and cons of those values.
Okay. Neel, tell me two qualities or values of a civil servant which are primal, most important for a civil servant. Without these two qualities, we cannot imagine a civil servant. What would these two qualities be?
So if I have to pick only two, so the prime among them, sir, would be the integrity of a civil servant.
Okay.
Right. Sir, and the second most valuable quality would be the efficiency or the leadership that a civil servant would want in his course of tenure. I think these two could be the prime values.
What leadership qualities you see in a civil servant?
Sir, the civil servant has to get things done. So that involves a very complex set of leadership in dealing with the juniors, in managing the superiors, and also dealing with the peers. So that is one very important thing that as a leadership. And sir, also civil servant need to have some vision, some long-term vision of the projects, of all the role that he or she plays, whether that be at the organization level, in the lower hierarchy, or at the policy level or the broad level in the higher hierarchy.
See, when we study about political science, because pol science happens to be your option.
Yes, sir.
Right? A lot of research, a lot of data is available related to Western philosophers.
Yes, sir.
But when it comes to Indian philosophers, their teaching, their belief system, their position on an issue, that has not been documented well.
Right, sir.
So don't you feel the practice of documenting our history
Right, sir.
has still not been imbibed by the country?
Sir, I agreed to the proposition that you said, sir. So, over the long period of time in history, we have not been very apt with the documentation process. So, and in fact, most of our knowledge has been passed by oral tradition. So yes, but I think, sir, very well realized. I think in the last, I would say, couple of decades, we are on the course to do that, and we are both aggressive in asserting our cultural and also our literature that we produce, and also in documenting them. Sir, but I think the problem why this occurs in the first place was because of the ethnocentric or the colonial rule under which we were. So
okay. I think, see, recently we saw the Ram Mandir happening, right? If I am right, some 3,000 odd crores were spent,
right, sir.
If the figures are right. But I felt, as a learned person in this society, I felt instead of a temple, that money should have been spent on reconstructing the Nalanda University.
Right, sir.
Getting the best of the books from the world, congregating them at the place, trying to relive the fame of Nalanda.
Right, sir.
What do you say?
Sir, I feel that we shouldn't look at it as a zero-sum game, sir, because spending in one area doesn't robs us from spending in other area. So because Ram Mandir or Ayodhya is itself a part of a very greater civilizational ethos. Sir, though there are elements of politics in terms of fulfilling of a political manifesto, but sir, on a very broader level, I think that does create some large collateral benefits, whether that be the tradition itself reviving, whether that be the tourism that then is. I think we shouldn't look at in binary that spending on this means not spending on that.
Okay. Okay. Say, for example, a hypothetical situation. I'm sure that will become reality one day. The Prime Minister calls you and tells, Neel, I give you 2 wishes for this country.
Right, sir.
And whatever you ask for will be done.
Right, sir.
What would be those 2 wishes?
Sir, may I think for a few seconds?
Yeah, please.
Sure, sir. Sir, I think the first wish would be to get a permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council. Sir, and second wish would be that we, and if I don't know how true that could be, but if we could eliminate corruption altogether. Sir, because I think corruption is something that drags us both in terms of our, I mean, across the hierarchy. And
Why
across
so
sectors.
much of importance to Security Council membership? Till such time you have Russia, whether you press the button or he press the button, one and the same thing, no?
Right, sir.
Having good friend in the bad company.
Right, sir.
Huh?
Sir, I think it's more than just the veto power. Sir, it's also the projection that India has arise. It's also the global rule making leverage that India will have. So I think that way, Unit Security Council plays an important
But
role.
anywhere in the foreign policy objectives, has India mentioned anywhere that it wants to be the global power leader? Global power aspirations, is it reflective in our objectives of foreign policy?
So I think it is evolving, and I think in the very first, I would quote the speech of our first Prime Minister Nehru, where he said that the rightful place in the Committee of Nations. That itself is a reflection that India has always wished for a greater role and or rather independent role in the foreign affairs, and that implicitly means having a power structure.
But Committee of Nations was from a different sense.
Right, sir.
I don't think from this perspective, right? He very much deciding to stay non-aligned was
Right,
very
sir.
clear that he did not want to
Right,
get
sir.
embroiled. You know? You see the country is moving away from non-alignment. When we are going deeper and deeper into, relationships with the West or the East also for that matter. So do you see non-alignment an irrelevant facet of our foreign policy today?
Sir, I think non-alignment in the strictest sense, as defined in the Cold War, is very different from what we call now. So I would say the substance of non-alignment still remains. Non-alignment was basically an assertion of our independence, of not getting embroiled in the bloc politics, and of still having a kind of strategic autonomy. And I think, sir, given the global condition, which is hence we cannot say that we are this aligned or that aligned, but I think the kind of strategic autonomy in our decision making, in our global posture that we maintain, whether that be in the Middle East or the South Asian region or even the Western region, I think there we have, I think we do carry some substance of non-alignment.
See, I am also a student of pol science.
Yes, sir.
I strongly feel that this, the institution of NATO should go now.
Right, sir.
What's your take on that?
Sir, I do agree with this, sir, because NATO reflects, is a kind of relics of the Cold War era. And having a military alliance in this age where we talk about global cooperation and where one of the more forerunner of collective security was US and European Union, and they kind of reviving the NATO. I think there's a kind of conflict, and I do agree that NATO shouldn't exist.
When I also flip through the pages of political science history, there's a very beautiful dichotomy between Plato and Aristotle.
Right, sir.
Can you throw light on that?
Indeed, sir. Plato talks about the otherworldly, and Aristotle is grounded in this world. So Plato is more of an idealist, and Aristotle is more of a pragmatist.
Plato talks about Darshanik Raja, no? That
Sorry?
ideal king,
Right, sir.
right?
Right, sir.
What were the traits that Plato gave to an ideal king? And how closely your existing prime minister resembled to that ideal king?
So Plato's vision of the ideal king or the philosopher king, as he called it, sir, was a person who is unwilling to govern, a person who is highly knowledgeable in philosophy, and a person who knowledge is the first pursuit of that king. So a king who is more inclined towards philosophy would be the best king because knowledge-wise. Sir, I think, and to answer your second part, sir, I wouldn't say that the prime minister or our current prime minister carries the marks of the ideal king as Plato imagined, sir, because in the current national and as well as geopolitical context, there is a more of realism, there is more of pragmatism that Prime Minister Modi carries, and hence very different from philosopher
From the
king.
philosopher king.
Yes, sir.
Plato also talks about a king should not get married.
Right, sir.
He should not possess any assets.
Right, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes.
And he should not have a family and all. From that perspective,
Sir, yes, Plato did believe that family and personal asset are a source of corruption, and a corrupt mind wouldn't be well suited to rule a country. So and from that aspect of the Prime Minister, yes, sir, I think he does he has relinquished his personal family, personal asset. So that way I could say that trait does resemble.
Okay. Neel, one last question to you, because your name is Neel,
Yes, sir.
and this Neel has been a big, I would say, in the Indian history.
Yes,
in the
sir.
Indian history, we have fought because of this Neel,
Right, sir.
the famous Indigo Revolution,
Right, sir.
right? Why that happened in the first place?
So there was a huge demand of indigo dyes and especially during the Industrial Revolution. And sir, there was a plantation wave that was done in India to grow indigo. But sir, as and when the dyes were replaced by artificial colors, so the remuneration that the indigo planters got was declining, and there was a pressure to still give the land revenue. So the mismatch between the growing demand for land revenue, but the lowering remuneration from indigo plantation led to a dissatisfaction and impoverishment of the peasant class, and hence arose the indigo revolt.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Vipassana meditation.
Yes, sir.
Who started that?
Sir, so the original techniques of Vipassana was done by Lord Gautam Buddha, but it was popularized by Sri S.N. Goenka ji.
What was Buddha philosophy?
Sir, Buddha's philosophy, the prime philosophy is Madhya Marg. So he talks about the balance of extreme emotions, and then there are other facets such as the four noble truths, that life is
Did he
suffering.
believe in God?
Sorry, sir.
Did he believe in God?
Sir, Buddha didn't believe in God.
What is the need for you, a young person getting good salary, good education, going for Vipassana meditation? Why? A senior citizen should go for meditation, no?
Sir, I would politely disagree with this proposition. Sir, Vipassana is for the mind. Vipassana is for a very healthy mental balance. And I think senior citizens, yes, rightly placed. But I think more than that, I think the youth would be well placed to imbibe the teachings of Vipassana, or to experience the kind of focus or the kind of equanimity that one
Youth
gets.
like you don't have the time. Where do you have the time to do Vipassana every day? Do you do Vipassana
Yes,
meditation every day?
Yes, sir.
How much time?
Sir, I do somewhere around 45 minutes to 1 hour every day.
Okay. This startup, it is into AI, artificial
Yes,
intelligence.
artificial intelligence. Yes, sir.
What exactly you are doing? There, that consultancy firm, that firm is doing?
Yes, sir. So we have various clients. So I am working for a few clients. So one of my client is Lulu. So it is a Dubai-based hyper-local mart. So wherein I make models and customized recommendation systems so that the company can grow their sales and the promotions are more effective.
What is the future of AI for a country like India?
Sir, I think I see a very optimistic and a bullish future for India in AI, because India is very well placed at the very right time and with the very right kind of support that it is nurturing in the AI field. So we have the right kind of skills. We have the right kind of.
Any issues relating to AI for implementation in India?
Sir, yes, there does exist certain issues. So one is the data privacy and the data issue. So second is the biases that all the algorithm in itself, getting misused or mistrained. So the outcomes could be biased that way. Sir, I think the third issue is around the regulation of AI or AI ethics in general.
Loss of employment may not be there in short term?
Sir, in short run, yes, but in long run, sir, it is going to create a very different, diverse set of employment with the right kind of skilling and upskilling.
Okay. You got the award. What was your contribution to 23
Yes, sir.
award from company?
Sir, so I was when I joined the company, so I in cut it short, I helped my company onboard a very major client. So Lulu was onboarded with my involvement in the team.
How did you learn about all this AI? You learned yourself?
Sir, so in my college, I did a few electives, and after that, sir, just to stay relevant in the market, I was learning AI by myself. doing some online courses, some certification, and also my friends who were working in AI fields, so I was in regular communication with them.
Coming to Mumbai, tell me something. Why? What is special about Mumbai?
Sir, Mumbai is called the city of dreams. So I think the kind of opportunities that one gets in Mumbai, the kind of culture that Mumbai has, a cosmopolitan culture. So I think that makes Mumbai special.
Apart from that, what else?
So the history of Mumbai makes it special.
How much is the contribution of Mumbai to GDP country?
So to the national GDP, I'm not exactly sure, but to the Maharashtra GDP, it's around 40 to 50%. So to the Maharashtra's GDP, it's around 40 to 50%.
40 to 50?
Yes, sir. So that's the number I recall. I might be wrong.
No. Acha, Maharashtra, Mumbai contribution to Maharashtra.
Maharashtra's GDP, yes, sir.
And Maharashtra contribution to India GDP?
So that's around 14%.
14%. We call Mumbai as a financial capital.
Right, sir.
What does it mean?
Mumbai has the headquarters of one of all the leading financial institutions, financial banks, RBI, SEBI. It has one of the major stock exchanges, which is BSE. And one of the most Maharashtra's economic drive comes from Mumbai. So the commercial, the mills. Mumbai was historically a city of mills. So
there's only one stock exchange in Bombay.
Sorry, sir.
You talked about now one stock exchange in Mumbai.
Yes, sir.
Just one?
So there's National Stock Exchange as well as Bombay Stock Exchange.
Both are Bombay.
Yes, sir, both are in Mumbai. So prominent.
Can you name certain other financial institutions apart from RBI and SEBI? Which are the other dominant financial institutions in Mumbai?
So there's a headquarter of Deutsche Bank in Mumbai. So there's headquarter of IRD, the Insurance Regulatory Development Authority in Mumbai.
A very small office. Any big name?
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall.
What exactly SEBI does?
So SEBI, the financial market regulator. So
what is the role?
So basically regulating the companies that are listed on stock exchange to ensure that they are transparent enough and they follow the compliances on a regular basis.
Why do the companies go for listing of shares?
So listing of share is one way to raise capital from the public. So public enforces trust in the company and also it creates a kind of investment opportunities for the public.
And what function a stock exchange performs?
So the stock exchange provide a medium wherein the companies could share their trade and the citizens could buy their shares.
In your present company, did you get any employee stock option?
No, sir. My company doesn't offer ESOPs.
They don't give you?
No, sir.
Okay.
What is the difference between yoga and yoga?
Sorry, sir. Me and yoga.
Yoga and Vyayam. Yoga is called Vyayam or same things, Vyayam and yoga? Or Vyayam is a part of yoga or yoga is a part of Vyayam? What is exactly?
Sir, I might not know the technical differences, but on a very broader level, in the colloquial terms of Vyayam is to denote the physical or the physical heavy part of training, whereas yoga is a combination of mental training as well as some bodily posture movements.
Okay. And you said, sir asked Buddha believed in God or not. So you said Buddha did not believe in God.
Yes, sir.
Where is mentioned? Have you read about it?
Sorry, sir, I'm not exactly sure where it's mentioned.
Because Buddha said neither denied and nor existed.
Right, sir.
And never mentioned and never talked about. So I think. Okay,
Thank
next.
you,
Can you let me know Nehru's foreign policies? Can you let me know Nehru's foreign policies?
So the prime prime element of Nehru's foreign policy was the non-aligned movement. And the second was to have the cooperation of the third world, which today we call as the global south. So these two would be the two prime elements of Nehru's foreign policy.
Okay, and what is your dream? Because you said Mumbai is a dream city.
Right,
So
sir.
what is your dream?
Sir, I have always seen myself to be in a kind of leadership position, and also to ensure that maybe after 10 years, when I look back to my life, I feel satisfied. So I think, and by satisfaction, I mean the kind of work that I do. So I would want to be associated with my work, and my work should be something that should be impactful at a a limited scale.
That is your dream.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is long-term goal and short-term goal? Can you let me know?
So my long-term goal and short.
Yes.
So
Long-term goal.
Sir, my short-term goal would be one of them is clearing the civil service examination, getting started with the service. That is one. Sir, one other short-term goal is to keep myself relevant in terms of the skill and the latest technology, which I always do. Sir, in long term, sir, I would want to have some work done so that I be remembered by the community in which I serve.
What kind of service you will provide to the people?
Sir, it would be so. For example, sir, I would want to have a community where I am like scaling the skilling environment. So skilling is something which I very passionately feel about, because the kind of job roles and the kind of transition of economy in which we are, so we are lacking skill at a very significant level. So if that is somewhere where I could contribute, both in terms of getting the youth technologically equipped and also make them relevant to the market. So I think that is something that I would want to work on.
And you use the technical word and AI. You know about AI very
Yes, sir.
well. So AI is a boon or curse?
Sir, I would call AI as a boon, but obviously it has its ramifications, just like any other technology.
Only boon.
Sir, I do see that AI, if with the proper guardrails, if it is used well, it could improve the human efficiency, capability, and a lot of benefits in the economic and social realm. But sir, yes, having said that, I don't deny the negative consequences of AI. There are many.
Like
Sir, one is which sir just mentioned, the short-term impact on employment. Sir, one major which I feel is that, sir, with AI we might amplify human loneliness, which I think is something that is not very often talked about, because with chatbots and AI systems solving every problem of ours, right from education to nursing. So I'm not very I am a little skeptical that will the human warmth and the human touch would be lost, and will humans be just turned into a data point and being served the most efficient system. So I think that is something with that I fear, and something that needs to be kept in mind.
okay. And my last question is, can you tell me India's stand on Myanmar military coup?
India has always wanted to have a democratic regime in Myanmar, and Myanmar being our neighbor, India strongly calls for peaceful democratic transition. With the Myanmar coup that happened in 2021, India strongly raised its concern, and even is pushing for a democratic transition. But sir, having said that, realistically, India is also open to engaging with whatever regime is in Myanmar, so that our immediate security implications are well guarded.
Thank you.
Neel Sharma.
Yes, sir.
There's a person said have reference with word Neel that he is the first person to step on the moon.
Right, sir.
Can you name?
Yes, sir. Neil Armstrong.
Who is the second one?
Sir, Buzz Aldrin.
Third one?
Sir, I think there were just two who landed on the moon. Third was just orbiting the.
So no third person yet visited on the moon.
Sorry, sir. I mean, in the Apollo
Okay.
mission, after that there were.
Okay. While you are answering one question, that you will ask the Prime Minister that India to be made as a permanent member in the Security Council.
Right, sir.
What are the hurdles that you will find while a country to be declared as a member of UNO?
So I think the first hurdle before declaration would be the veto from the P5 members. Sir, and to even change that, we would need a 2/3 majority change to the UN Charter. So that would, sir, it is in the UN Charter, sir. I'm not able to recall the exact article number.
So is it possible to get 2/3 majority? India in such a position?
Sir, I think that's why India is like negotiating and would want to have the P5 on its in its in its zone.
No, my simple question is, can India get majority, 2/3 majority in General Assembly?
Sir, I think yes, that's very well possible to get the 2/3 majority. Sir, given that we work towards creating that kind of acceptance.
Okay. Then it is said in Indian reference that Parliament in session is just a display. Parliament in session is just a display. Committee is the real functioning.
Right, sir.
So can you explain that in Indian context, and it is also said in US context?
Right, sir.
So can you explain this?
Sir, so this actually means that the most of the actual deliberation or the nut and bolts of the lawmaking happens in the committee system. So that one good thing about committee system is that there is a bipartisan engagement. So it's not just on display to hold stand on a political ground, but rather there discussion where parties become a part of one unit together. So then also there are experts that come in to contribute to the quality of the legislation. So that way committee system helps in the actual working of legislation.
So India is really working on the committee. If there are sufficient committees?
So unfortunately there are committees, but the laws are not passing through the committee system as they should be.
So how you can explain the term delegated legislation?
So delegated legislation is a legislation which is delegated by the legislative body to the executive body, so that the fine tuning and the nitty-gritties of the legislation are filled in. So for example, the government might provide a framework for a law, but the do's and don'ts of the law is done by the bureaucracy. So that is delegated legislation.
Is there any limit on the delegated legislation?
Sorry, so I'm not aware of the limitations. Limit as in the time limit, or I'm not able to.
My point is, what the Parliament can make, and it gives power, 100% power to the executive, same power can be conferred.
Okay. Sir, I think Parliament can only give the power pertaining to which it has the power to legislate.
All the power can be delegated.
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of the exact.
Okay. Can you highlight any two negative consequences of delegated legislation?
Sir, yes, sir. So one is that it violates the separation of power. Sir, because executive and judiciary are meant for different works, but executive doing the work of legislation would be separation of power. Sir, and secondly, executive are not directly accountable to the people. So there is a kind of accountability mismatch which happens in a delegated legislation.
So in India, there is a separation of power or separation of functions?
So we don't have a strict separation of power. We do have separation of function and a loose separation of power, I would say.
So your first point is right, that it is a drawback.
Right, sir.
Then welfare state is an institution of capitalism or socialist state?
So I think welfare state adopts the elements of both capitalist as well as a socialist state. It has the element of socialism when it comes to the role of state in delivering the welfare.
So socialists are critical. Do you agree?
Sorry, sir?
Socialists are adopting some system, or they are critique of the capitalism?
So the socialism is a critique of capitalism, and capitalism adopts socialism to kind of fight
the welfare state is a response to that criticism.
Right, sir.
Then there is a spiritual tourism. Can you explain this term?
So the spiritual tourism is tourism that envisages to give us spiritual experiences to the tourist. That could be spiritual places, that could be the heritage or the religious places. So yoga tourism or the temple tourism, all could be part of spiritual tourism.
Good, Neel. Your interview is over. You can relax.
Thank you, sir.
So, how do you think you fared?
So I think there are certain areas where I need to work, especially the current affairs part or maybe
Yes. आपका interview कब है?
so not in the second phase.
Not yet. Good. So, I give you a suggestion. Hindu newspaper every Sunday FAQs page.
Right, sir.
If time permits, every day text and context page.
Right, sir.
ठीक है? Glance through it, and you
Sure.
will surely get some good questions.
Right,
ठीक है?
sir.
What is happening on the economic front? Budget in and out, you should be aware. By the time you go, survey may not come. By then,
Right, sir.
survey also will not come.
Mhm.
If it doesn't come, you are lucky. ठीक है? If it comes, unlucky. ठीक है? So that's one thing. Ethics, you need brushing up the terminology related to ethics. बाकी ठीक है. बाकी from the perspective of overall personality, I rate you very, very high. What was your score last time interview? Both the
Sir,
attempts?
178.
And before that,
175.
you're
Sir,
lingering
hovering-
around
yes,
that
sir.
figure only.
170.
What happened in the mains? You couldn't do well.
Sir, I couldn't do well in the mains.
How about this time?
Sir, I'm hopeful.
Hopeful.
Yes,
hopeful. On a comparative scale, you've done
sir.
better
Yes,
than
sir.
the last time.
I feel so.
Okay. You have a very strong DAF. AI is there, engineering is there, your IIT background is there,
PSIR.
Huh?
PSIR.
हाँ, PSI और optional as a strong dimension is there.
Yes, sir.
Concepts को अच्छे से पढ़िए बैठ करके.
Sure, sir.
And I'm very happy you have the courage to take a stand.
Right, sir.
When you're saying, yes sir, I agree with you, yes sir, in some shades you said, I may not completely agree.
Right, sir.
Generally, a good part is you're not too diplomatic. At times students become too diplomatic.
Right, sir.
That I did not see it in you. So you are a very unique quality of leadership nowadays, which is actually missing.
Right, sir.
People have become yes sir, three bags full, So you're not one of those.
Right.
So one, I'm sure you will make it. Second, I'm sure one day we'll read about you in the newspaper.
Hopefully, sir.
So we'll surely wait for that day to happen. And as regards some factual information, brush up your facts, and I'm sure you're there. Take care. God willing, at a very high level also.
Sure,
Take
sir.
care. I'm sure you'll end up anywhere between 185 to 195 is what my expectations go.
Right, sir.
If you can perform a little better than that, then yes,
Sure,
much
sir.
more than that. AI का अच्छे से और तैयारी करो.
Sure, sir.
Rules and regulations related to AI.
Sure, sir.
Lot of things is there in news. So उसको थोड़ा dig
Right.
out about AI. What would be the ramifications? What would be cultural
Right, sir.
impact AI, societal impact of AI, legal dimensions, what will
Right,
open up. ये सारा अच्छे से research करो.
Sure,
ठीक है? I'm sure you'll do well.
So there's one question that I
Yes,
need
yes.
to ask. Sir, you asked me about what are the 2 wishes for India. Sir, I know that I gave a very shallow answer for that. Sir, what could have been a direction in which
The
I should
second,
have...
corruption was good.
Corruption की जगह education for all.
Education.
So
Education for all.
First
Right.
education.
Education for all. That's the best.
I would like to see my country on the lines of Japan, where education has been
Right.
given a lot of importance.
Once
So I
you
don't know
are-
why I thought in the direction of United, and I knew that then and there it was a very shallow answer that
बल्कि
I should have.
corruption को भी avoid करो.
It is your suggestion that when God asks someone that asks something, he asks that give me immortality.
Immortality is not a wish, it is a curse, let me tell you, to stay in this world. Okay? So one could be what education for
Education.
all, a society devoid of social evils.
Social evils. Yes, sir. I now I get that it should be on. It should have been
Social.
along that line.
Social lines,
Right, sir.
social, diplomatic, political
Political
lines,
lines.
kabhi bhi never
Right,
wish.
sir.
Never wish for that.
Swachh Bharat can be.
If
Yes,
you
sir.
Swachh Bharat can also be a good idea.
Yes.
yes, neat and clean India.
Neat and clean India.
Sir, after I give the Security Council, I
Got lot of-
like lot of points after
One
that.
point I want to highlight, India position vis-a-vis at the time of 1951 totally changed.
Right, sir.
आज इंडिया का हाल और यूएनओ का ऐसा हाल है. यूएनओ इज जस्ट लाइक घर में जैसे पेरेंट्स बैठा होता है ना ओल्ड एज,
Right.
लड़का पेपर देने जा रहा होता है, अगर दिखाई नजर पड़ गई तो पाम छू लेता है, नहीं तो नहीं छूता. इट इज लाइक द यूएनओ पोजीशन. So you should go through the charter. That very tough.
UN चार्टर को अच्छे से पढ़ो.
अभी recently 2 days Pakistan won one position,
UNESCO.
and you are saying that 2/3 majority India can get.
देखो you forget your past 2 interviews.
Right.
Forget जो हुआ सो हो गया. You can't do anything.
Right.
Now think of this year. March end में या अप्रैल में इंटरव्यू होगा.
Spiritual.
Think that you are going for the first time
Right, sir.
and last.
Last time,
हाँ.
literally.
हाँ.
Spiritual.
इसलिए दोबारा क्यों जाना?
Spiritual tourism is a place where everyone is going irrespective of his religion.
Except
Yeah,
for the-
that is a secular dimension of the beauty of spiritual.
Ayodhya incident and these are also giving direction.
ठीक है?
Yes,
थोड़ा
sir.
बीच
Thank
में
you, sir.
एक आध स्माइल आ जाती तो और अच्छा लगता.
Right, sir. So thank you for the
Take care.
Good luck.
Sir.
Hope you enjoyed it.